Good morning, folks. This is Brian with another piece of my review of the Red Book of Magic. Continuing with the D spells. Okay, detect armor. Same as the blue book. You can detect the honor of an individual. This is the Orlanthe understanding of honor, which is represented by having an honor passion of 60% or higher, or, determined by the GM, that person's behavior. Highly subjective. Okay. Detect truth. Also, blue book. 5 meter radius. You can tell if they're lying. Smoke comes out of their mouth when they lie. Anybody around the target, 5 meter radius, who lies, smoke comes out, right? So you got to be able to see the smoke to determine the lie. Okay. Detection blank. This is a new one. It obviously blocks detection, right? That's the purpose of it. So it screens any one object, spell, or person from magical detection. If you're using defensive magic, rather, if the object, person, thing, whatever, has defensive magic up, like counter magic or shield, when you cast the detection spell, the detector does not know that the detection blank is up, that it was blocked. But the detector spell casting person can boost their detection spell in order to penetrate the detection blank. It is convoluted, isn't it? Also, you can stack detection blank, and so every point is 2 points of counter magic to counter the detection spell coming in. Yeah. Okay. Um, okay. Also, if you're the detector, right, you're attempting to detect whatever it is, the detection blank is up, and you boost it enough to get through the detection blank, you obviously detect whatever it is, but you don't dispel the detection blank. Also, detection blank does not work against things like second sight or soul sight or some other skill. Good to go. Devour book, another Thanatari spell. And these are, well, obviously different rules from RQG and RQ2, right? But I don't remember some of these consequences. Okay, so the caster consumes the knowledge in a book or scroll, right? Absorbing it right into their mind. When you cast, when the spell is cast, the caster takes 1d6 points of damage to their hit points. I remember that. And they must roll below their intelligence times 5. In addition to making their chaos rune spell to cast the spell in the first place, right? So there's like 3 things here. Okay. If the caster fails, it doesn't say of what. So if they fail casting the spell or they fail their intelligence roll, I would say in casting the spell, if they miss their chaos rune roll, then they go into shock for 1d6 full turns. If they fumble that roll, 1d3 of their knowledge skills, selected randomly, are reduced by 5 to 50%. That's steep. The book, after the absorption, completely blank. It's like that book in Wendy Adams' TV show, the 3rd episode. Except hers was a fake, right? Yeah. Really? Maybe it wasn't. Anyway, so we go on to other types of things like carvings in wood or in a wall. You get about a page's worth, approximate, right? Why? Why is it different if it's carved into something than if it's inked onto paper? I don't know. Okay, new spell, Devour Foe. Yeah, you perform this ritual again, plus 35, right? Over the corpse of an enemy, has to be the same species. You have to eat one or more parts of the enemy's corpse, expend one or more magic points, and sacrifice one or more power points simultaneously. Now it says that more than one caster, so multiple casters on the same corpse, but you have to eat different parts of the body, right? Okay, and by eating that part of the body, you get a benefit. Okay, if you eat the bowels, you get 1d3 con for every 6 full points of constitution that the victim had. Brain, 1d3 points of intelligence for every 6 points of intelligence the victim had. Gonads, 1d3 charisma for every 6 points. Hands, 1d3 dex for every 6 points. Heart, 1d3 strength for every 6 points. Okay, pretty consistent, different things, makes sense. Okay, good to go. Now, you multiply the magic points that you expended by the number of power points that you sacrificed, and that's how many days the benefit lasts. So in other words, this has a special duration, which wasn't listed. Okay, if you cast this on a friend, doesn't work. If you cast it on a different species, doesn't work. If you cast it on an innocent neutral, doesn't work. All right, so enemy corpse, same species. Okay. Dew, this is interesting. It brings the Dew Maiden. Now, I'm assuming somewhere we're going to find out what the Dew Maiden is and her capabilities. I'm assuming that you have summoned the Dew Maiden for some purpose for her to do something for you rather than just the spell, right? Because all this spell does is after she departs, which is after 15 minutes, in a 100-meter radius around the summoning site, the ground is glistening with dew. This dew can be sucked or licked off the grass to provide water for man and beast alike. Good to go. How much? How much is needed? How much does it provide? What are the rules for dehydration? You can, for every additional point of dew that you stack, that increases the radius affected by 100 meters. Okay, how much more water does it give you? How many encumbrance worth of water does it provide? And how many encumbrance of water does a person need every day? I'd like to know that. Okay, Diamond Edge, another new spell. You can cast it on a stone cutting tool. Adds plus 40% to your crafting skill, whatever's used with that. Now, if it's an axe or a hammer that you can use as a weapon, then you also get plus 8 damage. Cool. If you fumble, though, the weapon breaks. Okay, new magic. Discern magic. Okay, cast at a single individual within sight, right? Target cannot resist. The caster then comprehends the number of points of spirit magic. That means something, right? The number of points of spirit magic target and his fetch, if he has one, has. It says memorize, but you don't memorize spirit magic. You just possess it. Because it doesn't take intelligence, it takes charisma. Okay. The number of points of sorcery spells the target has in mind, and that's true, they have to have it in mind. So if you have your sorcery spells in some other item, because you have to keep your free intelligence free for manipulating your spells, it's one which you have in your mind, which is generally like just one. Or maybe if you're using combat spells, although there are not really a whole lot of those around, then you'd have maybe more. Okay. How many points of rune magic the target knows, the exact power of the target, and fetch if it has one. The discern magic does not inform the caster of any spells known by allied or bound spirits, familiars, magic items, etc., unless it's cast on those things, because those things are not part of the target. A fetch is a part of the target. Okay. Discorporation. I think it's the same as the blue book. I didn't go line by line, but it's from there. A couple little comments here. Okay, so it acts like the shamanistic abilities, which begs the question: does the assistant shaman need to have this spell? In my Glorantha, he does, because he has to discorporate himself for the final test, right? Okay, so temporarily detached from your body, right? They will reunite at will or after the 15 minutes is over. Okay, also requires a successful meditate roll. I did not realize that, or remember anyway. If the meditation roll fails, You can reattempt that meditation rolls for the duration of the spells. You've got a lot of time. Okay, range is, I'm guessing, 160 meters because it didn't really say so here, but if you stack a point of discorporation, you increase the distance the spirit and the body can separate by 5 kilometers. So if you stack 2 points, you can travel more than 5 kilometers. Be actually, I guess, 10, right, at that point? Why doesn't it just say 10? Okay. And these stack points obviously have to be cast at the same time the spell is cast, right? Because they're all cast at once. Okay, once you're discorporated, treated just like a standard spirit. You can initiate spirit combat. You can be forced back into the body by a powerful enough dispel magic spell. That's not like acting like a spirit. But if you're going to cast this dispel magic on this corporate spirit, you have to be able to find that spirit first, right? Yeah. Or you can find the body. If you find the body, you can cast it on the body. There we go. Okay. If you are discorporate, you're attempting a power versus power roll for a spirit magic spell. What about for a rune magic spell? Because you got to do some rune magic too. But if you fumble that roll, you automatically return to the body. And like a spirit, why this paragraph is further down, back up, like a spirit. Like a spirit, you can send other spirits and sources of power to range roughly 10 meters per point of power possessed by the adventurer. And the adventurer cannot see non-magical mundane objects, things that don't have power or magic points, right? Such as ordinary walls, armor, weapons, furniture, scrolls, coins, etc. You cannot see those things. Something I've been dealing with in my campaign on a fetch and how much capability it has and how much it doesn't. Okay. Okay, but things with power or magic points you can sense out to 1 meter per point of power that the adventurer or the discorporate person has, right? You can also sense at that range the power of entities. So you can get that above 5 points, below 5 points, that range, it's about our power kind of thing. Also at that range, you can sense the runic affinities if they're over 50%. Okay. An adventurer, like a spirit, can use magical language as a spirit speech or storm speech, but cannot communicate using a mundane language. If the discord person comes in direct contact with another spirit, or another discorporate entity, you can sense the exact power, intelligence, and charisma of that other entity. You can also sense its cult affiliations. This range contact is also required for spirit combat. So it's kind of implying that during spirit combat, you can sense all these things. And I've never really drawn that out for my players. You gain spirit combat. This guy's got power, this, charisma, that, his intelligence, this. He's got all these things. Because to me, that takes not concentration, but it takes focus, right? You're looking at the thing rather than I'm fighting and defending. Okay. While discorporate, the body's vulnerable, right? You could cast damaging spells on it. You can attack with weapons. You can give it a disease. It's also vulnerable to being possessed. Unless it's protected by magic or an allied spirit, or I would add, or a fetch. If the body dies, the adventure becomes a ghost. You can extend discorporation with the extension spell. And that is where we will end today. Oh, it's 6 minutes. Can I get through the rest of these? No, I didn't review them. Oh, we're almost done with D. Let's do it. Okay. Dismiss type elemental, right? So there's a dismiss of every kind of elemental. There's a different dismiss elemental spell, right? Because they're all different. And they're usually listed like small or small or medium or small, medium, or large, all three of them, right? Because certain cults only have access to certain sizes of elementals. Okay, so with one rune point, oh, the caster has to overcome the power of the elemental. Okay, say that up front. It does. And it takes one rune point to dismiss a small elemental, 2 to dismiss a medium, and 3 to dismiss a large. Just like it takes 1 to summon, and 2 to summon, and 3 to summon. Okay, you cannot dismiss an elemental until it's fully formed. When we get to create elemental or summon elemental, I'm going to try and check on this because this is a rune spell, right? Summon elemental. Isn't like instantaneous? Maybe I should just real quick. Did I waste the time? PQRS. Summon, 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 speak, spirit, stone, sphinx, summon, summon ancestor, summon dolphin, summon elemental. Rune varies depending upon size and will be summoned. Summoned, range, temporal, stacked. Okay, it's a summon spell. Okay, quick review doesn't say anything about how long it takes to summon them. I'm assuming it's instantaneous. Strike rank 1. There's the elemental. So how can you not dismiss it until it's fully formed if it's fully formed instantaneously? I'll look into that more later. Okay. When dismissed, the elemental disappears at the end of the melee round, thus you can still attack it. And it gets to attack. Okay, dismiss magic. Oh, I didn't check these, so I'm assuming that's the same in the other one. Common rune spell. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's a common rune spell. Everybody knows this one, right? Cancels 2 points of spirit magic sorcery or 1 point of rune magic. If you do not specify the particular effect or spell you're trying to dismiss, it always dismisses defensive spells first, beginning with the most powerful that it can affect. But if you know what you're trying to get rid of that shield spell. You can do it. Okay, divert fire. I believe this is new. This spell may only be used to protect one's home and fields. Spell protect one building or field, one or. So if you're doing both, it takes 2, right? Because it's stackable. From wildfire or flowing magna by diverting the fire around the protected item. Oh, picture. For each point stacked with the spell, it places another home or field under the spell's protection. So you can do a whole village if you got enough points to stack. Okay, divination. Must be performed in a holy place, but remember there are spells like Sanctify you can use to make a holy place. Requires 1 hour per point of divination. You have to be undisturbed. For each point cast, you can ask a simple question and receive either an answer of up to 10 words or a 10-second vision. The GM must roll in secret the caster's power times 5 in order to find out if the caster actually failed to interpret the dream or answer properly. And if they fail that, if the GM makes that roll and it fails, then you have to make a misleading or puzzling answer. Okay, divination block. I think this one is new. So I didn't check these, I'm sorry. Got how close we're getting to the end of D. Divination block obscures the history of the activities of up to 12 individuals associated with one definable material object for an activity period of up to 12 hours. That knife was stolen last night. So you can blur that so that nobody can tell that it was stolen by you last night. I think that's what's that, right? Alternatively, so there's more options here. It keeps the history of one object from being revealed by the divination spell above or the knowledge spell on page 62. Again, for up to 12 hours. The last 12 hours of that history is blocked. Okay, on a critical 6. Oh. Okay, when you are making your power times 5 roll on the divination spell against something that's got divination block, and you get a critical success, it's revealed to the caster of the divination that a divination block was on it. For every point stacked, you add 12 hours to the time block. Okay. Draw beast. This is from the old one, right? You overcome the power of an unintelligent animal, which is like super easy. Well, not really, because they have 3d6, so that's kind of standard, I guess. It was this whole spirit combat with animals because they don't have any charisma. So the spirit damage they do is really, really small. Okay, so also they have, base 20% or is it 25% chance to actually defend themselves in spirit combat. Okay, so the caster overcomes the power of an unintelligent animal. It causes the animal to move towards the caster at normal speed. The caster can halt this motion, freezing the beast in its tracks. All during the duration of the spell. Each additional point stacked adds an additional beast to be targeted. Maybe draw beast should be in parentheses. Draw beast rabbit. Draw beast deer. Maybe. Okay. Drive out spirit. This has got to be new. Spell freeze the target from spirit possession. Well, that is cool. Without overcoming the spirit's power. The target, however, must sleep overnight within the outlines of the chalk man. Whatever that is. Drown. I don't think this one's new. This spell only affects air-breathing targets, and only if the caster overcomes the target's power. It does 1d8 points of damage to the chest location as lungs filled with water. The Breathe Air Water spell, which we hit earlier, renders the user immune to drown, but does not heal any damage already taken. So if you cast Drown on somebody and start taking damage, so you cast Breathe Air Water on them, the damage you already take, they still took that because it was in the past. It already happened. It's in the past. It doesn't matter. Okay, that's all the D spells. Easy one. And 22 minutes. Sorry, guys. Happy gaming.